Right, Heath?
Alright, Heath.
What are you working on?
Just a new Manor Lords video.
Oh, a new update.
One new update.
Like a week ago?
Shit. Manor Lords is a beautiful game. It comes close to fulfilling that dream of being a medieval ruler, short of actually being one. But, just like real life medieval kingdoms, it's not easy to rule. You'll stumble and fall, but the key is to rise again more powerful than before. Whether you want to be the next Byzantine Empire of trade, have the fighting prowess of the Romans, or just get by as a peaceful town, you can do all of this in Manor Lords. But, just like any other kingdom, you have to start off as a small village. This video aims to give you the means to hit the ground running in the best way possible in order to reach your goals, all while staying under that 15-minute mark. When you begin a new game of Manor Lords, you'll be plopped down in any one of the 8 regions on the map. The first thing you must do is zoom out of the map and quickly get a gauge of what resources surround your starting area. For my game, I was lucky enough to spawn in a region with a rich berry resource and a rich iron deposit. You don't have to get a rich food source, but it does make the game easier. You do want a rich deposit of clay or iron, however. You'll see later on in the video that this setup is extremely trade oriented until you get enough regional wealth to pursue your goals. There's no harm in re-rolling your new game if you don't get the rich deposit that you want. For a guide to the prices, for iron, you'll have iron ore which sells at 3 silver, you'll have iron slabs which sell at 4 silver, and tools which sell at 6 silver. For clay, you'll have the raw resource clay which sells for 1 silver, and you'll also have roof tiles which sells for 8 silver, but be careful with this one because you need it to upgrade the church and to build a manor as well. For the best results, I found that trading with clay, specifically roof tiles, at 8 silver per item is the best way to make money quickly. All of them are good respectively, but if you want the quickest way to make money, roof tiles is the best way. Be aware that if you have a region with 2 rich deposits, you will not have fertile grounds to farm, so keep that in mind. If you do choose to start in a region with good fertility, you can build a farmhouse and farms instead of focusing on backyard extensions. However, keep in mind that farms need a lot of work in order to get good yields. They're not a reliable source of food as you have to switch out what crops you plant each year in order to maintain good yield rates. And you'll need additional buildings to process the goods into food. The most efficient way to produce food in Manor Lords is to stick to your deposit and use backyard extensions to boost your food production. Finally, you're going to want to ensure that you build your village on the King's Road. This is to ensure that any of the trade routes that you make are in the perfect spot to allow traders to reach your trading post. Once we've decided what item we're going to trade with, we can start with building up our village and turn it into a powerhouse to get us on our feet. Second step for us to take is make sure your basic needs are taken care of. That's firewood and food. First off, we'll start with food. If you started off with a rich berry deposit, you're going to want to slap down a forager's hut alongside a logging camp, woodcutter's lodge, and hunter's camp. Set the limit to 10 on the hunter's camp so you don't accidentally kill off the wildlife population. At the moment, we're going to save the resources from our camps in order to expand quickly. Once you have enough timber saved, you're going to want to place down 4 or 5 houses with large plot lines in order to take advantage of the backyard extensions. In the early game, you're going to want to aim for a nice mix of chicken coops and vegetable farms. Chicken coops produce eggs and vegetable farms produce, well, vegetables. These are not good to rely on as your sole food production, as they don't produce enough to maintain the expanding we're going to be doing, but they complement your other methods of getting food, ensuring you have a nice surplus of food every month. Once you build 5 houses, you're going to gain your first skill point. Firstly, you're going to want to put your skill point into trade logistics, so you can ensure that you save a lot of money when creating new trade routes. Trade logistics sets the price of creating new trade routes at 25 silver. You'll also get a message saying that a supply of military goods was sent to your village. This is important as you're going to want to use these to create spearmen militia in order to subsidize your backyard extensions. Finally, you're going to want to place down a marketplace, relatively close to your houses, in order to distribute the resources that you gather efficiently to your families. I'd recommend keeping the stall capacity at your first marketplace anywhere between 16 to 30 stalls. This is because when you place down a marketplace, your village will focus on filling one up at a time, which will leave a lot of your villagers struggling to get resources quickly if they are far away from the first marketplace. Once this is done, you're going to want to build a tannery in order to produce leather from the hides you get from the hunting camp. Once you reach about 10 families in your village, you're going to want to start thinking about building a road towards your deposit and build a mine there. Once built, you're also going to want to build a bloomery and smithery if you have iron. This is to produce iron bars and then tools respectively, or a clay furnace for roof tiles. It is completely up to you if you want to sell the iron slabs, but if you're going to be focusing on iron and want the best returns, build tools and sell them instead. You're going to want to maintain this resource production for a few in-game months to ensure that you bring enough resources ready for trading later. In the meantime, you're going to want to keep expanding your village and food production appropriately until you build a trading post, manor, and a church. Before you interact with the trading post, you're going to want to send your army to attack one of the bandit camps across the map. In Manor Lords, your army's morale and efficiency are extremely important to keep in mind when fighting off an army of similar size. You're going to start off by moving your army as close to the bandit camp without triggering that army to attack you. Once you've done this, hold your army there for about a minute on 3 speed while you wait for the fatigue to go down. You're then going to turn off the toggle run button and walk your army closer to the camp, but stop them at a distance where the bandits see you and start coming towards you. Here you will see you'll get a boost to your efficiency, which will result in it reaching 100 to 110% before the bandits reach you. While they are walking towards you, you're going to want to select the give ground tactic to ensure your defense is doubled, and at this point you can just wait for the bandits to come. Your army should be fine to handle them without any micromanagement. Once the fight is over, you will have gained influence, which is important to secure any other regions you may want to expand to in the future. The church also gives you influence, but we'll be talking about that later in the video. Once the bandits are dealt with, move your army on top of their camp and it will be destroyed. Here you will get a message asking if you want to send the money back to your village or to your treasury. To subsidize your trade routes, you're going to want to send it to your village so you can gain about 115 to 180 regional wealth. When this is done, you're going to want to go into the trading post that you built, invest in the trading route for the resource you want to export. Before you import anything, you're going to want to upgrade 3 houses to level 2 in order to advance your town level. Once this is done, you will get another skill point that you will put into the better deals option. By this point, you should have received a message saying that raiders are going to attack you in a year's time. Once you receive this message, you're going to want to track the raiders' movements, so you can have a better understanding of how much time you have until they come. Before moving on, if you are happy with food production, you can set a tithe for your church to take a percentage of surplus food, and set taxes in your manor for treasury income. Setting a tithe on your village increases your influence, and the higher your tithe, naturally, the higher your influence gain. In other words, you have to gain the blessing of the Pope to claim territories. Over the next year, you're going to be focusing on expanding your village and trading your selected resource. During this time, you're going to have to keep an eye on your trade screen every month. When you trade too much of a resource in Manor Lords, the global market will start to become oversupplied, resulting in the export value of the resource to decline. When this happens, just stop exporting the resource and start exporting the raw material for the resource you are exporting. This way, you maintain a cash flow while allowing the main resource's price to increase. You're basically going to want to go back and forth doing this to ensure you maximize your income. The best way to spend money you earn from trading is investing in equipment for your army. I'd personally recommend importing the remaining 16 spears and large shields to complete your first militia group. If you have enough money to import more weapons and complete another group of any militia except archers, then do that. Otherwise, save your money and spend it on mercenaries to fight alongside you. You're going to need quite a few men to fight these raiders, which should be more than easy enough to acquire if you play your cards right. When the raiders arrive, the best course of action would be to place your soldiers between your village and them, preferably on the high ground and away from trees, for some reason. You're also going to want to make sure they're not fatigued and have as much efficiency as possible. If it is possible to gain an advantageous position in your home region, do that, as it adds a bonus to your soldiers' morale, which will allow them to fight for longer before running away like little peasants. You'll want to play this battle out like the previous one, however place your retinue group slightly to the side of the battle, just like Sun Tzu said, attack from behind and you'll be fine. Employing some tactics will help massively in ensuring your victory. So, you've defeated the raiders, have a steady food supply and an opportunity to amass wealth. Where you go now is for you to decide. You can enter a more militaristic route and choose the armor making extensions for your houses level 2 and above. You can create sheep farms in order to harvest wool. You can claim some of the territory still remaining and build a new settlement. The world is your oyster from here on out. Whatever you choose will shape your save for the rest of the game. Eventually, you'll want to expand. You'll get greedy. You'll muster 130 men and take on the Oh god.